Me and Zach, massive shout out to Zach Gardner. I had a fantastic time running, I think 37 miles with that guy. And I think that's the way that like racing, maybe not should be, but I just love the way that we went into that race. And we looked at each other and we were like, we had talked beforehand because I saw him on the entrance list. And I was like, hey man, like I'm down to run this with you for the majority. And he hits me back and says, I'm down to work together, but no hand holding. And I was like, no doubt. Like, that's the perfect thing you could have said. That's the second time I've heard that in my career. And I loved every bit of it.
Welcome back to the next Aid Station podcast. I am your host, Jake Kilgore, co-hosting Mick Garrison on the lav next to me. Ooh. Special setup today.
Yeah, this is a first.
This is a first threesome in the studio today. I wouldn't be happier with anyone else.
No.
You, me,
Grant
Barnette, everyone in studio today. The winner of Utah's Fall 50, the DC Peaks 50 miler and course record holder at 7:35. Grant Barnette, good morning, bro. What's up?
Yo, good morning. Wow, sorry,
Look, he's a needed man.
We're going to make this a foursome.
Insane. I should just now be getting
Someone's pissed they're not a part of this.
FaceTime.
Sorry.
Bring him in, dude.
Great way to start it here. You know?
Heck yeah. Yeah, man. So we got Grant Barnette, Salt Lake City, came in studio today, recapping DC Peaks. It's a cool time of year, man, because the season is kind of wrapping up for everybody. How do you feel about your season? How'd the year go for you?
I think overall, it's always hard to be mad at a season when you're nice and healthy throughout, which is a win in itself. Besides UTMB, I think it was a pretty okay season. But yeah, my first race was Broken Arrow. Unfortunately, I dropped there. And then Speed Goat, did pretty well, 5th place there. And then UTMB, unfortunately, another drop, which fucking sucks. But and then ended it out with DC Peak. So I think just finding something positive for the end of the season really sets the tone for the beginning, even though it's not always a perfect clear-cut schedule.
Yeah. Well, we're big Speed Go fans. So we're going to start there with this year's Speed Go time, 5th place. Your time was 5 what?
5:43.
Okay, I was going to say 46. 5:43. Mick, what would it take for you to run a 5:43 at Speed Go?
I would have to cut out Mary Ellen's Gulch and the climb out of Miller Hill. You give me that, I got you.
Yeah. So you could go up to Hidden Peak, maybe drop down a little bit and come right back?
So basically, yeah, I mean, I think they kind of have that race.
Oh, it's called the 28K.
Yeah. Bring it.
That's your 5:43.
Like, to do it in the fives, like I don't really understand that. Maybe you could break that down. Are you running up these hills?
For the most part, the first time I had done Speed Goat, that was 2019, and I ran 6:28, and I thought that was probably as fast as I could go. But I kind of had a few year hiatus with that race just because mentally it's so close that you want to do so well, but yeah, you put so much pressure on yourself that, you know, any little niggle in the legs or anything, I'm kind of like, oh, I can't race Speed Goat this week. Like, oh, it's not going to happen. But this last time I did it, yeah, it felt really, that climb out of Mineral Basin hits everybody, which is what I love. But, yeah, it was pretty brutal, and it wasn't near a perfect day by any means, but coming away with such a big PR, I was super stoked about that. Yeah, I was vomiting on the hill. I don't know if you guys saw my heel click at the finish, you know. I came up heel clicked, immediately tripped on those Adidas Super shoes, and then completely just ate shit, and it was great.
The super click at the end. Perfect.
That's so fitting for Speed Goat, though.
Yeah, you finish that thing and you're gonna die. Everything at the end. Yeah. It's a 50K, so everyone's gonna go hard, like redlining the whole way.
Yeah.
And pushing everything to puke to. For me, it's always cramping and just. Yeah. I mean, between Mick and I, we have like 13 starts at Speed Goat. So I don't think any race will ever compete with that between the two of us. But we've been up there a lot. So that one we tend to talk about that race a lot. But dude, a 5:43, and David Sinclair goes sub 5.
Yeah, God, that's the real feat in itself right there. Good Lord, like Killian couldn't even go under 5, and then
Yeah.
David Sinclair, the wrath of David Sinclair. My God.
So in the sport, you hear it in a lot of professional athletes, professional sports, whether it's trail running or football or basketball. The elites will say there are levels to this thing. Are you seeing that now that you're racing at an elite level that, okay, there's like another level to this whole thing?
100%. I mean, to be good in this sport, you have to already sacrifice so much. But I feel like when, let's say you have like good genetics in the family gene or whatnot, and you just kind of bump up a tier, it's insane to see like that I can train really hard, show up at a race, and then there still be 5 to 6 guys in contention for getting first, even outside of David Sinclair. So it's insane. It holds you accountable to, to really try and bust out that weekly mileage, but also really try and get in some turnover and some workouts on hills and stuff. I mean, it's just the level of competition now is just insane. Everyone's coming out of D1 running, and they found their way into trail running, and now it's insane.
So at 28 years old, you've got a few sponsorships per se, right? Yeah. So you're getting some support, getting into what I would call kind of the pinnacle of your career, like the status of being 28, running at an elite level. What does the sport have for you? Like where are you going with this thing, man?
Man, I purely believe to shoot for the stars. I would really love to put down a performance at UTMB that I know I could. Whether that's, top 10 on a really good day or, top 15 on an okay day, or even, top 5 on just a perfect lace day. I don't like to have tunnel vision like towards UTMB. I just want to be a very well-rounded runner. But I found that when there's a lot of elevation gain in a profile on a course, I tend to do a whole lot better than the Black Canyons and stuff like that. So I just try to really hammer those hills.
So that's kind of you seek the courses with a lot of ascent, descent inside the distance. That more fits you than say a Black Canyons or a Javelina or what about Western?
I would do Western just for the history. I kind of have a race in March that I'm thinking about just because it's a new golden ticket race, and it's kind of a good change of pace for me. And even after DC Peaks, I felt like I came out of that with some pretty good turnover. So I'm just going to kind of run with that for a little bit. But yeah, no, I love it when all these big named athletes that are just crazy monsters on the road and marathoning and such, when they have to walk up a hill. I love it. Because then, maybe I can like downshift into first gear and still hold a little bit of a jog, and then it's just, they just burn out. And I love it.
So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
he's
that
running
exactly.
Yeah. So, well, you like the big climbs, but at the end of DC Peaks, you go into the last 15 miles with Zach. There's no big climbs really in that section.
Yeah.
But there was enough there, enough, like a couple thousand feet over 10 miles for you, like that was still within your jam. Like you just crushed that section. Walk us through that.
Me and Zach, massive shout out to Zach Gardner. I had a fantastic time running, I think 37 miles with that guy. And I think that's the way that like racing maybe not should be, but I just love the way that we went into that race, and we looked at each other and we were like, we had talked beforehand because I saw him on the entrance list, and I was like, hey man, like I'm down to run this with you for the majority. And he hits me back and says, I'm down to work together, but no hand holding. And I was like, no doubt, like that's the perfect thing you could have said. That's the second time I've heard that in my career, and I loved every bit of it. That last 15 miles, we go across the bridge, and I think he's breathing a little hard, and I just thought, hey, let's hammer the shit out of this climb. Like, it's going to hurt, but it's very runnable. Let's just hammer it and see what happens. I thought I went too early with 13 to go, but thank God I had some legs left coming out of that aid that final aid, and when I saw him with 5 miles to go, because I was like, I think I can hold it. But I was running scared the entire day, especially the last 15.
I like that you went for it. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Because I knew we could have jogged that whole thing together. And it was like, half the time throughout the day he was in front of me just because I didn't feel like hammering those forest road sections or anything. I thought 6:30 pace was pretty nice and chill. But then I knew like eventually one of us has got to make a move. And that's the hard part, is when do I make that move? Because if I make that move with 5 miles to go, maybe he's still got legs. And I think he's a much better downhill runner than I am. So I thought if I could do it anywhere, it had to be on an uphill.
I mean, that's almost a minute per mile faster than him on that last section.
Well, according to this open split time, you came into Summerwood with like a 5-minute lead. But you were in and out of there very fast on that Red Bull, bro. You were slamming the Red Bull. I think you were 1 minute in the aid, and he came in and had to do a couple things.
Yeah.
I think he hit his wife had a cooler of something, and then he went to like a couple of the actual aid stations in the cul-de-sac. And I think he took a couple minutes there, more than you did, and then you put time on him in the last 5 minutes, or last 5 miles, which I thought was pretty wild, pretty impressive. But you saw him on the climb out just as you were turning right on the BST. He was coming down. Is that right?
Yeah, right at the top.
Any exchange there?
Yeah, I think I said, let's fucking go, bro. And then he puts his hand out and we kind of slap. But in my head, I'm like, fuck, like, let's turn it on. Like, let's go. Like, we can't see this guy again. Because, like, he's good enough to where we all know Zach Gardner. You know, he's good enough to where he can climb out of that thing. And who knows how he feels on the downhill. So I just hammer time. Let's go. You know?
Hey, cheers and drink to that. Zach Gardner saying, we're not holding hands.
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan of that, dude.
Oh, me too.
I can't stand it. I'm down if you're holding hands and you're in 30th or middle of the pack. And that's cool. You run a whole race together and you're grinding. You're just trying to finish that thing. But when you're in the top 10, top 5, like, whose hand you holding, dude? Yeah. Are you not in a race?
This is a race.
So you're racing. And I love that you guys are like, yeah, let's go work together. But I ain't holding hands with you, man. Like, we're going for it. One of us is going to make a move at the end. So that's cool. I love that you guys had that exchange. Yeah. Let's talk about the beginning of the race, though, of DC Peaks. That first, call it 12-mile climb up to Francis. What was the pace like? Who was leading? Where were you running? All of it?
Zach was leading through that section. We kind of like took off together and we were chilling. I kept having to take a piss, so I guess I was nice and hydrated. So I kept having to kind of squeak around for a second. But yeah, he ran every step of that climb. I kind of broke it up into running. We were hitting a lot of like 13-minute miles for the higher stuff, so gaining about 700-800 feet of vert. Yeah, from there we just kind of, as we made our way up towards farther, I kind of broke it up into hiking sections, just real quick, minute. Fast hiking, and then I would switch back to running. But it's funny because when we crested the top of the climb, we kind of like sidewind around the ridge there, and we kept falling. Like I don't know, just we're kind of like looking up, and then there's like a tree branch or something down, and I took a tumble, and then he took a tumble, and I took another tumble, and we were just like, fuck, man, like we need to wake up, like because I don't know what's going on here. And yeah, he pretty much had a good like minute lead on me, I would say, throughout that first 13, definitely towards the end when we made our way up to Francis. But yeah, it was we were just trying to kind of fill out the day. But I mean, with Zach, he's going to run every uphill, so you kind of have to at least keep him in sight to where you can kind of catch back up. As you guys saw at the aid there, right on Francis, he probably had like 45 seconds to a minute on me. And it's just he quickly comes in, fills up a bottle, I do the same, and then we kind of take off on the Forest Road section.
And then bombing 630s down the hill, down to Farmington.
Sabrina fell going uphill too.
Yes, she did. There were a number of people that came into Francis aid station with blood on their knees. I'm like, what? Where you already fell?
Well, that's because they're running. I'm just like,
you're walking.
There's everything to make it up there. That's 6,000 feet of climbing in the first aid station.
Yeah, 6,000 feet and 12-ish miles, give or take.
Such a good climb.
There were a bunch of people that fell going uphill. That's something.
Hey, I'm really glad I bought some of those bottles and put like saline solution in it so we could clean them out. Because last year people got hammered too.
We'll take them all to Francis.
Yeah, and so what I did was I bought them and I got the saline solution and I just went ahead and kept them in the warehouse and didn't distribute any of them.
That was very nice of you. So
I'm here for the runners. I'm a man of the people.
You're thinking about them all year.
But I got them for 2025,
Oh yeah, sign up now. So, well, hey man, we can't thank you enough for representing at DC Peaks and setting a new bar. Adam, Adam set the bar at 7:41, and you came in and just squeaked by that by 6 minutes. Zach put down a great time. Alex Johnson coming in at third. Even Sam's time was phenomenal at fourth. I mean, we had a showing. Give us some constructive criticism, man. We're always trying to improve our race, and we want to hear the feedback from guys like you who experienced running all over the world at elite level. We mixed in a little live stream this year. We did a few new things. Anything that you could think of that'd be like, yeah, that'd be cool if you guys did this?
Man, I mean, not really. Like, you guys did a phenomenal job this year. Like I said, between the live stream, like my family and everyone was able to keep up. I didn't take a wrong turn. I don't know where those flags were pulled. I remember having that encounter with Zach where I think I had right out of zigzag there, I'd kind of taken more of a left approach up the hill. And I just kind of remember looking down and seeing Zach just right below me running up the hill. And I was like, hey, man, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I just barely went off course there. And I kind of waited for him to get back on before I continued running. But, man, I mean, it was a pretty damn good day. And I don't see how it could have gone much better or worse unless, like, myself would have caused that one. But overall, man, I mean, this was a sick event. It was all time. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I thought it was greatly marked and everything. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't even have the GPX file, but I just like
what?
Yeah, I didn't even have the.
Hey.
So like, I know like
winner.
I know there was a little bit of beef with like the 25K people, but like, holy shit, just like shut the fuck up and keep running. Like what's
They don't really have that.
Why is
mindset.
why is it like the non-ultra people that like are the complainers? It's like, shit, dude. Like that was a hard 50K or 50 miler, and I loved how you got all that climbing at the beginning. I loved that first 6,000 feet climb because that's where you separate them right off the bat. So I was running scared, and I had a fucking great time, and I just appreciate you guys letting me hop in 2 nights before the race again.
Yeah, of course. No,
Bro, that was our honor. When we did, he did the Tahoe 200 this last June, and found himself in a race for a podium for third place. So he had he had DC Peaks left, is what he said, and it's a race. So we get to the last aid station, and we have 18 miles left, and I'm pacing him, and we're cruising, and that chase, running scared that you keep talking about. I don't know if that'll be the only time we get to experience that because we're not usually, I'm certainly not in that position, but to have every corner where you're turning around looking to see if they're behind you, it changed everything. Like I didn't feel tired. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You don't think about the breathing. I was like, let's go. We got a mission to accomplish.
Yeah.
So for someone at your level, with Zach Garner and some of these guys, to say that you were doing that at our race, that's really cool for us to hear. Oh, man. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Especially like on the Mueller section, because you're like winding around and stuff. I knew that first part of the climb, if you can get away from someone, you will not be seen, which was, that was kind of my plan, was to take off and then you can look down a couple switchbacks and stuff, but it's pretty, there's a lot of foliage in there, so you can't really see a tremendous amount. But once you hop on like that last 5 miles where it's a little bit more like exposed, and like you can look back and maybe see like the last switchback, and be like, okay, I still don't see him, but like let's keep hammering. Like, yeah, 100%. Yeah, all the pain in your legs just goes away, and you look like a goofball running downhill, just completely, your arms are going wild. But overall, you're just, running scared is like one of my favorite things to do, which is pretty crazy. It just takes everything out. Nothing matters in that moment. It's just like you versus the trail versus every little fucking rock you see. Like, yeah, I love it. I live for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's so great to hear. It is that happened at our race. That happened at DC Peaks. That's pretty cool, man. Glad you got to have that moment for yourself and your career, and your family got to watch. I said it before on the podcast last week, kind of the recap on DC Peaks, but like, hearing stories like that, or I mean, Zach's family was watching from France.
Yeah.
Other families were watching from the Midwest, and that gets me pumped and like excited to put more resources and more thinking and more strategy into how to create just a better live stream, a better experience for friends and family. That's part of the ultra world that I think that's where it's going. But it is tough because there's not a lot of money in trail running, even for the athletes or for race directors, there's like none. And it's like the athletes get very little. And if they do, it's like elite only. And, so it's like, how is the sport going to grow? And I think the live stream is a great way to just bring more people in, bring more eyeballs in, and hopefully bring, sponsorship dollars to the table for everybody.
Yeah.
For all the athletes, for the directors, for everybody, so that the sport continues to grow at a rapid rate. I'm going to take a step back, and we have a few more minutes. I'd love to hear how you got into trail running, where you grew up. I saw your 24-hour attempt on skiing. I don't know if you knew this, Mick, but he attempted 24-hour a record 24 hours of most vert in 24 hours on skis.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yes. So give me the skiing history background, like where you grew up skiing and then the transition into trail running.
Yeah, well, originally I'm from North Carolina, so there was no skiing in the picture. I learned to ski when I was 21 years old, which is crazy to think. I moved out here on a whim, was just road tripping through the country, and got a job up at Alta's Resort Lodge up there, just working as a handyman, parking cars, doing all this shitty work. But so I learned how to ski up there, and quickly found out that I hated standing in lift lines, so I wanted to more or less learn how to ski backcountry. I wanted to ski POW all the time once I finally learned. But for the 24 hours, I had to, there was a lot that went into that, and unfortunately when I lined up to start that, I was pretty stressed. But over at Beaver Mountain Ski Resort, they are all time. I love that mountain. It's not the most like aesthetic, but it's got a really clean line to where you can just lap the shit out of it all day. But yeah, I felt really great into that attempt until about hour 12, I would say. And then I kind of was like skiing down. You start getting foggy headed. It was at night, so I kind of hit like some icy chutter, and my knee kind of gave me a little slight pop there, so I fell. So it ended terribly, but I ended up doing 40,000 feet of climbing in 14 hours.
On skis.
So.
Because that was my next question was going to be, I grew up skiing. I snowboard once or twice a year. I'm not like a big ski person. I'm an old man now, but so the night section of an event like that, a 24-hour section. I mean, 24-hour race running is something because you put the headlamp on, you got the lights, like you got to grind through the night. It gets cold. Yeah. But skiing, I'm like, dude, how are you going through the night skiing on ice?
Yeah, that
was what's the headlamp like?
Yeah, I had one of those like Moonlight. It's the same brand that Killian Jornet wears, but it's one of those Moonlight. So I think it's like 1,300 lumens, something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got to be way bigger than something you'd run with, right?
Yeah. And especially like, what killed me about like doing the night skiing was all that cold air just going in your face, and you're just kind of like, you're kind of squinting, and then you'd open up your eyes and you'd be completely down the hill. But I think that was my problem right there, is I closed my eyes for a second, and oh man, I don't think I fell asleep while I was skiing, but yeah, and then next thing you know, you open up and ski goes wobbly, and I'm like, oh fuck, like just quickly lose control. But that was, oh man, it sucked because like where Beaver Mountain sits, I think you top out at like 8,000 feet. So that snow just changes so much. And as you guys know from skiing, like throughout the day, from 8 a.m. to 12, it changes. From 12 to 3, as it just gets hotter throughout the day. And then right when the night hits, it all freezes. And it just turns into this big icy chutter box. And yeah, and it's even worse for the skinning too, because when you're skinning up, you have like a fabric on the bottom of your skis, and one side is smooth and the other side is grippy. So when you're going up, you're still slipping all over the place, even if it's fresh corduroy, just because, there's just nothing for it to grip when you're going up. So between the ups and the shitty downs, it just kind of quickly made me realize, okay, maybe I should start at a different time next year, or when I do it again, or start, do the night first and then just have a clean section during the day.
That was my next question. Are you going to attempt it again? And if so, what's the first thing you're changing?
Yeah, I think I'll probably do it again. It went so good. I've never been like 12 hours into an event and be like, oh wow, I still feel fucking great. Like this is great. Like calories are going down, and everything. But yeah, I would definitely change it to where I would do more of probably like a UTMB start, a little 6 p.m. And then like get the night over with. Don't really worry about the vert then, but right when the sun comes up and the snow gets good, like hammer.
Wait, how are you climbing up?
So you have these fabric, like they're called skins on the bottom of your feet, and they're basically on one side that sticks to the ski.
Oh, okay.
There's
So
like,
that's what I was wondering. I'm like, are
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
in your boots going up this
Nordic-
with your
Nordic
skis
and
on
up.
your back?
No, yeah, it's
The skis have to stay on the whole time.
yeah, skis stay on. Yeah, and it's a really, really it's under 1,000 grams like weight for a ski, so it's really tiny ski.
And you got to like sidestep it up.
And you're just walking
No,
traditionally. Yeah,
You can do that.
Yeah, you're just
Oh my
gliding.
hell! I would
So-
be like, I just did that. If I did it.
Oh,
once.
just one time.
Yeah,
If I went 30 feet, I was like, done.
bro.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Drop my poles.
Mic drop. 'em.
Yeah. Yeah. So from what I understand, skimo.
Yeah, yeah.
So you slide the ski up the hill because it's one fabric that way, and then it's got like grip to go to push against that way to climb.
Wow.
So you're just like slithering your skis essentially, right? Just
Kind
sliding
of-
them back and forth.
What's 40,000 feet feel like compared to if you were to climb, like trail running 40,000 feet?
Skiing's way easier. That's like there's certain parts of the body that it hits more, like your hip flexors for sure, the quads. It hits a lot more, and mainly the skiing part is supposed to be recovery, but you're
Yeah,
in
like
that
the downhill,
such,
right?
Yeah, you're in that such tight position of skiing to where you're just not quite a 90-degree angle in the legs, but you're definitely just kind of like sitting in an invisible chair. And
Yeah, using your quads.
yeah, and after a while, 40,000 feet of that, I think that was like 17, 18 laps on the same hill, and it was just like after a while, it just everything is just so hard.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the skimo and backcountry just being such great cross training.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes are moving to like almost no running in the winter.
Yeah.
They're doing so much skiing. I ran for 3 hours with the female that ended up taking second at Kodiak last weekend. Coral from Canada, and she had not done a race in 5 years. She did a 50K like 2 months ago just to like tune up her first 100 and led the race for 12 hours and then ends up taking second. Just a phenomenal runner. But we talked a ton about what she's been doing since 2019. And she's tons of mountain biking and tons of skiing. So she's incredibly fit, and her cross training, like the pounding that running does on your joints and ligaments is like, I think that a lot of at least podium or elite athletes, front of the pack athletes, are finding that you got to do a lot of other things during the year. Do you find that being true?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like last winter, I took the winter completely off from running, which it does. I feel like when you start running again, it definitely takes a lot of time to start getting back into it. But I think that was one of my flaws with Broken Arrow, was just kind of, oh, wow, it's May. I probably should start running now. And, you kind of just ramp it up a little too quick. But yeah, I mean, just to give you an idea, through 4 months of skiing, I almost had half a million feet of vert already leading into the season. So it was kind of, you just can just hammer uphill so much to where like, I think it's really good 100-mile training, if anything. I know you kind of have to sprinkle in some other stuff, some speed work and stuff, but if you're just purely time on feet skiing, you can go out and ski 10 hours a day. And yeah, your feet will probably hurt and everything, but yeah, it's just, there's not a whole lot of activities that give you that deep burn like that.
How often are you just taking the lift up and skiing down? Or like never?
Never. I never bypass. Yeah, I used to, like when I
Yeah.
learned how to ski, that's the perfect way to do it, is to bypass. You go in, you rip groomer laps, and then, on a POW day, you go out and you ski off the trail a little bit. And then, yeah, once I kind of got like the motion of skiing down pretty well, skiing and POW, I just kind of took an avalanche course, and I had a really great mentor, Joey Campanelli, up at Alta, that kind of taught me how to essentially survive in the backcountry and be smart and use your senses. And just because you see a nice like ridge that hasn't been hit yet, fresh tracks on it, like don't go up and hit that ridge. You really have to be smart about it, especially to stay alive essentially in this longevity of the sport.
Who gets a job at Alta and doesn't know how to ski?
My mom.
Grant?
Oh, you mean at the time?
Yeah. I'm like, he gets a job at
yeah.
Alta.
Yeah. A little inside access here. You guys know Finn Melanson?
Of course, yeah.
He used to work at the exact same place that I did years before I came to Salt Lake, and he never skied when he lived up there. He lived at the top of Alta, and he just ran all winter. And I don't understand how the fuck
He
did it,
never
but
skied up
he
there.
never skied. I think he skied a handful of times, but he told me, he was like, I
You
was
want,
up
you
there.
want to be in the mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was up there to live at 8,000 feet, and I ran on the road every day in the treadmill and stuff, and it was great. And I
So,
was like,
so when you did this skiing challenge, were you into running then?
yeah,
It was just this last winter.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
just this last runner.
I think I started trail running when I 2019.
Okay, so that's what. How did you get into that?
I ran cross country and track in college for a year. Wasn't quite mature enough for college at the time, so ended up dropping out. But after that, I started through hiking these long national scenic trails. I did the Appalachian Trail in 2016 in 3 months, 28 days, and it was kind of just working a bum warehouse job. And
You spent 4 months on the Appalachian Trail?
yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and I thought maybe go walk around for 4 months. You'll have an idea. And when I was done with that, I still had no idea what I wanted to
How
do.
old were you then?
I was 19.
And who were you with?
No one. My dad dropped me off at the start, and I started solo, and I met this 50-year-old guy that had done a bunch of long trail stuff, and we kind of like connected and almost hiked that entire trail together.
You were 19?
Yeah.
What?
That's an adventure.
You just did the Appalachian Trail at the age of 19 just by yourself. Like, I'm just going to go.
Yeah. My dad saw that I was kind of going down a rocky path, and he was like, hey, like, like you're doing this, whether you want to or not. Like, you're going to save up some money right now, and I can help you out with some of the rest. And yeah, you're doing this.
So what was the rocky path? This is like a, hey, son, like, get your crap together. I'm going to put you in the mountains, and we'll figure it out when you get back.
Yeah, well, I kind of dealt with a lot of like drug abuse stuff in college that definitely forced me away from cross country and track, and I just found myself going deeper and deeper down that spiral as I was working a bum warehouse job with a bunch of other guys that kind of did that same stuff. So yeah, very quickly was spiraling down, and my dad saw the route I was taking, and it was not the cleanest route, and just figured that I needed a lot of outside time to think and reevaluate what I want to do with my life. And yeah, from there just kind of took off with it.
So on the AT for, let's call it 4 months, a couple days short of 4 months, was there like a moment that slapped you in the face, or was it like over time where like you started to kind of see more clearly about what you want to do with your life?
Over more time, yeah. At first you're kind of just like, what the fuck am I doing out here? I'm just like, got a 40-pound pack on, and I'm just like walking everywhere, hitchhiking into towns, all this like kind of hippy dippy stuff. And yeah, and I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do until I went and did the Pacific Crest Trail the next year, and I was just kind of like hiking in Southern California, and the Angeles Crest 100-miler was going on at the time. And I just saw people with all these bibs on running past me, on your left, on your right, all this shit. And I told the person, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? He said, oh, there's a 100-mile race today. And I was just like, say that again? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, no, like, there's like this route in Southern California, and we just like signed up to run 100 miles in the wilderness here. And I was like, fuck, I want to do that. Like, what am I doing with this 40-pound pack on? Fuck this. Like, I want to see how long it'll take me to do that. And yeah, I did the PCT, True North, and after that I immediately dove into trail running. And coming from North Carolina, there was some local races out there, and I love it. My first 50K, I bonked so hard and I threw up everywhere, and it was the greatest thing that I'd ever done.
Me too.
Yeah. I'd love, when you can remember that first ultra. I think I have like 30 ultras under my name now, but which is not a tremendous amount. But yeah, after you like realize that first one, you're like, fuck, man, like it's addicting. And I kind of channeled all my energy into that. And I said, okay, well, my dad always taught me, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So
right.
I just really tried to channel that and kind of be like, well, like, even if I'm working a bum-ass shitty job and I'm still running, I'm still getting like, yeah, I'm still kind of going in the direction that I want to get. If I can get better at this, then new opportunities will sprout, and I can kind of just run with it. No pun intended.
That's true. Pun intended.
Yeah.
That's incredible,
I
dude.
love that.
So give me a little more on the AT. I've always been interested in the Appalachian Trail. I've never ran a single step on that trail. I don't know if I'm ever interested in like going and doing the whole thing, but it does intrigue me in a way that's like that. There's a lot of history on that trail for our country and our sport. So like, where did you start? What time of year was it?
I started at Springer Mountain, Georgia on May 11th of 2016.
So your dad drove you from North Carolina down there.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "You're finishing. That's it."
Yeah,
There's
basically.
no
He's like,
DNF.
I'll see you in Maine.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah, pretty much. He started hiking with me. He did the first 2 days with me.
Oh, that's
and,
cool.
Yeah, we did 18 miles that first day, and I thought he was going to die.
Yeah, you're good. You got the rest.
I've never seen one just slam a ramen packet before. Like, that was him at the end of the day. It was so
Slam
good.
a ramen packet.
Yeah. And they would meet me along like the southern section sometimes. Like if they had like a weekend free, they would drive out to like Virginia when I was in the area, like Damascus, which is a really good trail town. And they would kick it for a week or something. But I found that when they were out there, I wanted to get off trail because, you miss your family.
Yeah.
You're just kind of out there. And I told them, I was like, hey, you guys can't come anymore. Like, I love y'all to death, but like, I'll call you when I'm in Maine. Like I just need to I need to figure out and realize like why I'm here. And like the best way I can do that is like have some good like solitude time, and I need to like push miles. So I just would do a lot of like 30-mile days on there, which on the AT that's a pretty good day.
So no support.
No support.
Self-supported. What were you eating?
A lot of like ramen, candy bars. Anytime I like go through a town, big old burger with a nice side of fries. It kind of set me up for like ultra running, eating almost, just a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Were you fishing at all, or any game or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
There's enough small towns every once in a while to just grab some.
Yeah, you can hit a town every 3 days if you pump miles pretty good, which is nice. The accessibility of that trail is really
Yeah,
cool.
every 3 days isn't bad, and you're packing the rest, right?
Yeah,
Just anything light.
Yeah, so you're packing usually for 3 to 4 days, and it's totally different on the PCT because you go through the Sierras, and that's a 10-day stretch. You
Desert.
don't cross a road. You don't. Yeah.
No water.
Yeah. It was really.
How you
bad.
getting water for 10 days on the PCT?
We were thankful to have 2017 was a really big snow year, so all the river beds and all the creek beds were really high at that time, which made it a little dangerous for creek crossings. But which means I was okay with it though, just because there was a ton of water out there for that one.
Yeah. Any FKTs in the future? Does that interest you at all, or not? Not really.
After I just saw that Tara smashed the Appalachian Trail
Yep.
record in 40 days,
Yeah.
something like that. I think that is like so rad. I especially like I think she has a big thru-hiker background, so like channeling that energy into I can like do this way faster now is awesome. Financially, I don't think I could ever do something like that unless I do have a sponsor, and I just signed with a new sponsor. So a lot more is coming my way, which I'm stoked about. But that's a lot of like emotional support, even with the people that are with you for 40 days. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so much. So
Yeah, she crushed it at 40 days,
Yeah.
Tara Dower. Yeah. So give me a couple of shout outs on the sponsors, man. Who'd you just sign with? Who are you with?
I can't say for the
Whoa!
one I just signed with. Unfortunately, I'm with Pit Viper I'm an employee at Pit Viper, but also with them for eyewear, so they help me out a little bit there.
Pit Viper is the eyewear.
Yeah.
Is that right there on your hat?
Yeah. We have a bunch of different styles. I want to lace you guys out in some, so
Lace us out, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when can you talk about the who you signed with?
I think January 1st. I think I could
Yeah.
say, but
That's all right.
I like leaving the suspense. I'll tell you guys off the.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
congrats, dude. That's cool, man. I mean, it's tough. It's tough these days. There's so many good athletes. There's so many across the world, right? Yeah. But to get support, to chase your dreams and go see what you can accomplish, and have the support. That's a big deal. So congrats. That's really cool.
Thank you. Especially from previous sponsors. It's been. You get promised a bunch of shit and you don't get half of it, and you're just like, man, like, is this how this is? And when this company reached out to me, it almost sounded too good. It was like, okay, what's the if, ands, or buts? And they're like, no, there are none. and it was like, holy fuck, okay, well, where do I sign? You know, like, give me a fucking pen, you know?
I'm in.
That's cool.
I'm in. Yeah. So, congrats, man. We can't say enough about having you come to DC Peaks, come on the show, spend some time with us. Give us a little peek into the future, man. What does next year have in store for you? Any races that you are for sure doing that you can talk about?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go out to Cianti in Italy. That's that new golden ticket race out in March. So I'm definitely gonna have to like maybe cut back on the skiing a little bit, or just use like the first months to ski and then really ramp up the running hard. I think it would be really cool to go in and try and get a golden ticket just based off of, first 100-miler ever is Western States, and that's a really iconic race, even if the profile doesn't quite align with what I think is right. But between that and would love to go back to UTMB. It's just, it's a tough scenario with UTMB. You kind of like, you want to channel your all into it, but definitely just a whole lot of international travel, hopefully. And got a bear tag from DC Peaks, so I think I would love to run the bear. It's so local, and it's such a, was it fourth oldest 100-miler? And it's just, it's incredible. So I would love to give that one a go for sure, because eventually, maybe in the next 10 years, I'll get into hard rock. So.
We'll see in hard rock 2035.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
that climbing, that would be your
Maybe I
jam.
can still run by then,
Is the 100-mile, like, is that your favorite distance? Is that your jam? Or is this more of a UTMB's pushing you that way type thing?
UTMB's pushing me that way. I love the 50-mile. The 50-mile 100K. Like, oh man, like I can't say enough good things about DC Peaks. I pushed that to the line, and I still felt like pretty okay at the line there. But man, that 50-miler range to 100K seems to be the sweet spot. I just hate that, as you guys know, probably the 50-miler races are kind of a dying breed right now, and it's like there's only a few really left. So I love that you guys still have that 50-miler, because before I did my first 100, I did a 50-miler. And that kind of lets you know kind of what you need to do to complete your first 100 and stuff. Just the perfect, half the distance. But sometimes 100K seems like a touch too much. But I kind of have my spurts in each distance. I love the 100-mile distance, and that's what I really want to get the best at. But it's really tough to figure out which distance kind of caters to my skill set per se.
The 50, I think you nailed it. The 50 kind of does feel like a dying breed.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we talked about how the 200 is kind of becoming the new 100, like what the 100 was. And so, I don't know, maybe 50-milers just weren't getting the signups. Everybody wanted to take that 100-mile challenge.
People just push to the next, right? They kind of, collectively as a group, everyone kind of moves to the next biggest, baddest thing.
But ours is growing.
Oh, yeah.
Ours is going to continue to grow, for sure.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
And Adam Loomis has already told me he probably plans on coming back next year. So,
We said this needed to happen because of the course change difference. We need to see.
We did call him out on the last one.
You're not going to let him come take your record, bro.
Well, I told him, I said, wait until 2 days before the event. Then
He did that last time, so did you.
He did, yeah. He did.
It's like when you want to go, I want to fucking go, I have nothing but respect for Loomis. And it was a dogfight that day. I mean, you got Zach Gardner, Sam Collins, I totally forget the third place guy's name. Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, Alex passed me super early into the 50-miler coming down the road, and it kind of makes me reevaluate. I was like, fuck, man, hopefully he's going too fast, but you just never know with some of ththese guys.
Yeah.
Me and Zach were just having conversations throughout the day, and then it eventually turns into, okay, who's going to make a move? We've got to get this train rolling somehow. I felt sorry for Sam because he was right behind us, so he couldn't quite channel our momentum. But, no, man, it was just, I had no idea what was going to happen until the final 5 miles on that one.
See, we're going to have more on-trail filming next year. I don't know who the hell we're going to get to chase you to hopefully
mountain bikes, dude, e-bikes. There's no way I don't know anyone that could run behind
get
it.
some drones over there or something, because I would love to see that that last 15 miles with you guys and see the move that you made around mile 1, or in that first mile coming off the bridge. I want to see that.
Yeah, that'd
that's
be
sick.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep trying to level it up over here on our end. We're trying to push out a 100-miler next year. We got a couple things we got to figure out with a couple jurisdictions, but it's just not that easy to throw together a race and a route and get everyone to agree. And but that's okay. We're having fun doing our races, pushing the 100. But yeah, man, I think we're pumped to see where your career goes. I cannot believe you're 28. What were you doing at 28, Mick?
I think I was a piece of shit when I was 28. I didn't have a dad to take me on the Appalachian Trail, so I don't know what I was doing, drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have taken you to the AT, man.
Yeah. Mine would be more like here's the Salt Lake Marathon route. You're going to finish it. You go walk this, boy.
Yeah.
That's more my distance.
Take it down the Deseret News Marathon.
You're going to walk around this track.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hey, man, it's been great having you in. I love your story. I think your story is there's a lot of people that relate to that, especially in the ultra community. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people come from, tough background or making bad choices as a youngster in college or in their teens, and then they find the mountains.
Yeah.
And there's something about the mountains that ground you, that bring clarity. And it sounds like that's a big part of your story.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, everyone's running from something, and they don't know what they're running to, but they know they're running.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sharing that here on the Next Aid Station with us and talking DC Peaks. But, hey, man, best of luck to you. I think you got a bright future. Keep hammering, and we're going to keep following you along. But thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys again for the late entrant. I appreciate it. Fucking all-time day.
Yeah, dude, okay. You're very easy to cheer for.
Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up. We want to thank Grant for coming in. Rockstar, Mick, good episode, good show. Tune in to the next one. We'll have Sabrina Stanley on actually here in a little bit. Kind of keeping with our DC Peaks theme. And traditionally, we like to have the male and female winners of the DC Peaks 50 on the show to kind of recap and break it down and see where their career goes after DC Peaks. Life after DC Peaks. So thanks for joining. We'll see you again next time.